Battle through the firmament. Grand world. Chapter 379. I will live up to my expectations. Outside the mountain, several elders waited patiently. The competition for the quota of the realm in Valley had come to an end. The next thing they needed to do was to wait for all the participants to come out and calculate their scores. This time, you have arranged for 2 spots. Zhu Tianhou didn't participate. I'm afraid Lu Xiangyang is the only one who didn't participate. Elder Wu stood with his head held high. He smiled at Elder Shao and spoke. There is no news about that little guy, and I don't know if he is still alive or dead. If he enters the realm in Valley, he will definitely be able to master the sacred spirit fire body with the help of the cultivation resources there. Sighing regretfully, Elder Shao said in a deep voice. Lu Xiangyang is one of the top few experts in the Soaring Dragon ranking, and he still has some strength. After entering the realm in Valley, he might have some sort of breakthrough as well. He's here. While the few elders were conversing, a human figure rushed out from afar. Looking at his face, it was Yi Yi. With a few leaps, he quickly arrived in front of the elders. Yi Yi, you have come out quite early. Take out the token and let me see how many points you have. Elder Yi, clearly familiar with Yi Yi, glanced at the latter's tattered clothes and spoke with a smile. Forget it. The points on the token have long been snatched away by Shaoyan. The remaining points are nothing. Yi Yi smiled bitterly when he heard this. There wasn't much anger in his tone. He had nothing to say about the fact that he was weaker than Shaoyan. When he was in the inner courtyard competition, he had already been shocked by Shaoyan's performance. It turned out that some of the thoughts in his mind had also vanished. These are some medicinal ingredients and a few low-grade heavenly beast heavenly cores that I have obtained over the past few days. He extended his hand, and a few strange medicinal ingredients and 2 heavenly cores emitting a spiritual glow appeared on the wooden table in front of them. Shaoyan, he, I didn't expect you to meet him. Elder Wu smiled when he heard that. He pushed all the herbs to Elder Yi and kept the 2 heavenly cores. Low-grade heavenly cores, 1 is equal to 100 points. Elder Yi, take a look at the quality of these herbs. Elder Yi glanced at the few herbs and nodded lightly. These few herbs are all very ordinary. The best fire essence fruit can only be used as the raw material to refine tier 4 medicine pills. These things are equal to 80 points. 80 points. Yi Yi laughed bitterly when he heard this. He took out his token. The score on it was only a pitiful 20 points. 300 points. Yi Yi, this score is not enough to enter the realm in Valley. Elder Shao laughed out loud and couldn't help but tease him. Yi Yi shrugged his shoulders and was about to speak when some of the students also came out one after another. All of them had bitter expressions on their faces. Most of the points on the tokens were only a few points. There were even some who did not have a single point on their tokens. All of your points were stolen by Shaoyan. Seeing so many empty tokens, Elder Wu was slightly surprised. Shaoyan had gone a little too far. He had simply swept through everyone's points. With his strength, dealing with these relatively weaker students would be completely crushing. It's not Shaoyan, it's Lu Xiangyang. The tanned Yang Tao's face was ashen. He gritted his teeth and spoke. That day, under the attack of the blood flame-scaled beast, he had run away with everyone. The next day, he suddenly met Lu Xiangyang. Without saying a word, the latter beat him to the ground and snatched all the points before leaving. When Yang Tao said those words, almost all of the students nodded in agreement and cursed. Most of these people were members of the alliance formed by Lu Xiangyang. After joining, they did not obtain anything and even lost their own points. Hearing Yang Tao's words, Zhao Yuanhao's face darkened, and his heart was filled with fury. Wang Chao and the others trusted Lu Xiangyang so much. Although they knew that he wouldn't hesitate to use any means to enter the realm in Valley, they still didn't expect that Lu Xiangyang would attack their brothers who usually called themselves brothers. Lu Xiangyang. The elders looked at each other. After that, Elder Wu coughed lightly and said in a deep voice, "This is a competition to begin with. There's nothing wrong with Lu Xiangyang snatching your points. Even if he enters the realm in Valley, I won't acknowledge him as one of the strongest students. I really don't dare to praise the integrity of this captain of the punishment department. Yang Tao was straightforward. He cupped his hands at Elder Wu and left in big strides. Since he couldn't enter the realm in Valley, he didn't need to stay here. Yang Tao's words immediately resonated with the majority of the students. They became furious but did not dare to act rashly in front of the elders and left one after another. Most of them used this opportunity to obtain some heavenly cores or rare medicinal ingredients in the deep forest. After handing them over to the few elders, they could only exchange for a little points. To them, the points were already useless. It was better to exchange some spirit pavilions with the pill gathering or the spirit pavilion. This would allow them to train for a little longer. In any case, no matter what, if Lu Xiangyang is able to enter the realm in Valley, it can be considered a joyous occasion for the punishment department. Seeing some of the students leave, Yi Chang said. Elder Yi smiled and turned to Elder Wu. Elder Wu glanced at him. He glanced at Elder Wu, who was standing at the side. Zhuang He and the others had gloomy expressions on their faces. They were the leaders of the punishment department. With Elder Wu here, they didn't dare to leave like the other students. Turning his head, Elder Wu smiled. He also had some understanding in his heart. It seemed like Lu Xiangyang had offended a lot of people from the punishment department in order to enter the realm in Valley. All the elders are here. While Elder Wu was lost in his thoughts, a clear voice suddenly sounded out. After that, Xiaoyan's figure appeared in their line of sight. Xiaoyan, I was waiting for you. Elder Wu laughed out loud. Ignoring the strange gazes of the surrounding students, he stretched out his hand and said, "Let me take a look at the score on the token." Stopping in front of the three elders, Xiaoyan's eyes swept across Yi Yi, Zhuang He, and the rest. As he took out the token, he asked curiously, "Where's Lu Xiangyang? Didn't he come out with you?" Seeing Zhuang He and the others shaking their heads with ugly expressions, Xiaoyan frowned slightly. He had stayed in the canyon because he was worried about the alliance that Lu Xiangyang had formed. He had thought that Lu Xiangyang would ally with Zhuang He and the others to snatch the scores of all the other students. Looking at the expressions of Zhuang He and the others, it seemed that this was not the case. Why is it only 100 points? Xiaoyan, what have you been doing these past few days? Elder Xiao frowned slightly when he saw the points on the token. He could also feel that Xiaoyan's strength had reached the level of 5 emperors. This fellow couldn't have gone in and only cultivated, right? When Yi Yi saw this, his heart skipped a beat, and a trace of anticipation appeared in his heart. What medicinal herbs did you collect? Elder Yi squinted his eyes and asked. With Xiaoyan's eyesight, the herbs that he could obtain would definitely not be ordinary. I didn't see any precious herbs. Xiaoyan shrugged his shoulders. When he saw Elder Xiao's somewhat ugly expression, Xiaoyan did not dare to delay any longer. With a flip of his hand, he took out the blood flame scaled beast's heavenly core. The moment the heavenly core appeared, the spiritual key on it suddenly soared into the sky. It was filled with a baleful aura, causing the expressions of Yi Yi and the rest to instantly change. The ferocious aura contained within it was not something they could withstand. Elder Xiao waved his sleeve. The origin key vibrated and eliminated this murderous aura. His gaze was like a bolt of lightning as he stared intently at the blood-colored heavenly core in Xiaoyan's hand. After a long while, he finally spoke in a soft voice, "A high-tier heavenly beast's heavenly core." Elder Wu and Elder Yi inhaled a breath of cold air when they saw Xiaoyan nod his head. The shock in their hearts had already reached a stage where it could not be any greater. Yi Yi's face was pale. When he heard Elder Xiao's words, he couldn't help but laugh bitterly. The last thought of competing with Xiaoyan had also disappeared without a trace. Once the heavenly core of a high-grade heavenly beast was revealed, it was certain that they would enter the realm in Valley. You are truly a monstrous genius. Elder Xiao smiled. The shock in his heart had calmed down, and what replaced it was a kind of joy. Xiaoyan had really lived up to his expectations. With this kind of strength, he could be considered one of the experts even if he entered the realm in Valley. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.